무궁화 꽃이 피었습니다.
Assalamualaikum and a very good day everyone, especially to our respected lecturer, Dr. Raju anak lelaki Raman Chandra. My name is Az-Zahra binti Zakaria and my metric number is 273932. I am the leader of Group 3 and here is our group presentation concerning on the given topic of corruption and cronyism, which we have addressed on the issue of the above title.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Nurul Fahira binti Hussein. My metric number 270990. Now I will present about executive summary. Based on the issues, it is focused about corruption and cronyism. As we know, corruption is a sort of dishonesty or a criminal conduct committed by someone or something in a position of power in order to obtain unlawful benefit or abuse power for personal gain. Corruption disproportionately affects the poor and vulnerable, raising expenses and limiting access to service such as health, education, and justice. It discusses the cause and consequences of corruption, especially in the context of a least developed country with considerable regulation and central direction. Lack of transparency, accountability, and consistency, as well as institutional weaknesses such as in the legislative and judicial system. In addition, the rise of economy and the high social costs associated with corruption, its adverse consequences on income distribution, consumption pattern, investment, the government budget, and on economic reforms. Besides that, cronyism is the practice of favoring friends or close colleagues in the giving of job and other benefits, particularly in politics and between politicians and supporter groups. Cronyism can also occur when appointments are made by people with who have a social and economic relationship. Other than that, cronyism is a very prevalent phenomenon in societies and organizations with certain cultural values such as paternalism and collectivism. Despite its being cited as a major factor for economic crisis and mismanagement of organization, it is a concept that has not received due attention from management. That's all from me. Thank you. I will pass to the next presenter.
Assalamualaikum. I am Sharifah Amira binti Syed Zainal Abidin, metric number 272399. I will continue with the case summary. The issue being discussed is when Datuk Sri Najib Razak get a free house worth 100 million as a property gift from the government for his service as a former Prime Minister of Malaysia in the form of a 2.8-acre residential property where the resident is located in one of the most exclusive neighborhoods in Kuala Lumpur. There were many arguments and dissatisfactions arise questioning the eligibility of the gift within his corruption scandal of 1MDB issues. The fact is that his request of this property gift got the government's approval without full considerations and knowledge of certain Malaysia's cabinet. This was clarified when Datuk Sri Najib made the request about the house worth 100 million after loses his power in the 2018 elections. The issues will again arise in November 2021 when Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad asking the current Fine Minister Tengku Zafrul Aziz regarding Datuk Sri Najib's request. The Finance Minister finally admits that the request has been approved by the government, where his statement brought tense atmosphere during Dewan Rakyat orders. Many parties believe that the Finance Minister and Malaysia's government evaluate sort of cronyism acts toward Datuk Sri Najib request. The decision was not in line with several senior government officials and ministers that showing his convictions towards his scandal of corruptions. This issue somehow evaluate an unethical practices by the government for rewarding Datuk Sri Najib's service without taking into account his high-profile corruption convictions and without majority consent and agreement. Datuk Sri Najib's requests were irrelevant and even immoral without feeling guilty towards his 1MDB corruption issues. Furthermore, Datuk Sri Najib has committed a heinous offence of corruption, which is a wrongful act in law which are breach of trust, money laundering, and abuse of power involving 42 millions. He actually deserves to be punished where there will no eligibility for property gift from the Malaysia governments. That's all. Thank you.
My name is Shahid binti Metric number 272365. I will be talking about ethical and unethical issues that related to the issue. First, can ethics has stated to always respect the humanity of others and act in line with standards that universally acknowledged. For example, the Member of Parliament Remuneration Act, where the former Prime Minister is entitling to one of three types of housing allowance, which it might be in the form of a government residence with all amenities and 10,000 ringgit Malaysia monthly allowance if he prefer to stay in his own home or ownership of a government gifted house. Next, according to Khan, under distributive justice, each person has an equal right with identical liberties. For example, former Prime Minister Najib Razak and Dr. Mahathir Mohamad received the same amount, 10,000 ringgit Malaysia, for their monthly payment as they choose to stay in their own residence. After that, Najib also made an additional request for 2.8 acres residential property worth 100,000 million, and it has been approved by the government. Egalitarian believe that there are no significant disparity between persons that justify uneven treatment, where everyone should receive an exactly equal share of the reward and burdens. It is unethical by invoking the government with a little-known act to make the government approve the request. In addition, bribery and corruption are also the example of the unethical behavior, where it was stated in the news that a policeman lost his pension for receiving a bribe of only 700 ringgit Malaysian, and Najib was found guilty of 7 charges: criminal breach of trust, money laundering, and abuse of power. It includes corruption charges about 1MDB issued when he stole 42 million ringgit Malaysia and used it for personal purpose. Najib certainly does not deserve such privilege compared to other former leaders. Thank you.
Very good day, Doctor. My name is Az-Zahra binti from Group 7, and I'm going to present about the ethical theories that related to corruption and also cronyism. So the first theory is from Immanuel Kant's theory. This philosopher described the corruptions as self-gratifications and other actions that satisfy our needs, wishes or wants that are not ethical, since we have a tendency to do so rather than an obligation to do so. So the meaning of corruption is the use of money or gift that to get certain kinds of benefits or advantages to themselves. So for instance, taking the example in the article, so in 2020, the former Prime Minister of Malaysia, Najib Razak, found guilty of 7 counts of criminal breach of trust, money laundering, and abuse of power using around 40 million ringgit in cash from former 1MDB company SRC International. So the High Court sentenced the former leader to 12 years in prison and fined him around 210 million. So he has committed corruptions and have a high profile of corruption history. The second theory is from Aristotle. So Aristotle has stated that equal should be treated equally and unequal unequally. So this view is fitted with the situation where the former leader try to request for his privilege as someone who used to rule the country. Even though his requests were approved by government, it does not fit right because of his high profile corruption history. So this situation could be viewed as cronyism as his request because of his corruption conviction. With the history of corruption, the former leader clearly does not deserve to be given such privilege compared to the other former leaders in terms of allowance or the request for a property. And then the next theory is the Max Weber view of politics. So his view of politics either someone without moral discipline, self-denial in the higher sense, the whole system would fall into the pieces. So for example, a politician who has a higher level of moral discipline always know that they have a very big responsible for the well-being of the country, as they know that should they involve with the corruptions that could break the country systems and eventually giving a hard time to the citizen as well because of the corruption scandal. So all of these three are the theories that is related to the corruptions and cronyisms that happens with the issue of corruption that happened in Malaysia. Thank you.
Alright, now I will continue in presenting linked ethical theories and concepts within the cases. Based on the cases, we can clearly see that there were an act of cronyism from several Malaysia's cabinet members toward former Prime Minister Datuk Sri Najib request to gain irrelevant property gift of residential property worth 100 million. Their action aroused ethical dilemma because there were no such discussion and approval from all of the parliament members, despite Datuk Sri Najib prominent corruption issue of 1MDB. Malaysia government has evaluated egalitarianism perspective in performing their action. They might think their action are reasonable and ethical, as our former Prime Minister Datuk Sri Najib should still obtain what he deserved as a morality value towards his nation's service before. Egalitarianism enhances equal in fundamental respect for all human beings. Even so, egalitarian does ignore several important characteristics such as abilities, intelligence, need, desire, and etc. in distributing goods and justice. Datuk Sri Najib cases can be emphasized on moral egalitarianism, which all humans must have equal respect and compassion for one another on a global scale. It is believed that humanity is interconnected and all people are entitled to basic human rights. Of course, the notion of equal regards or fairness varies and dependent on the individual, making true egalitarianism difficult to impose. In accordance of Datuk Sri Najib corruption issue, it clearly wrong and unethical in the term of deontology. Deontology is an ethical theory that uses rules to distinguish right from wrong. Deontology often related to philosopher named Immanuel Kant. His perspective tend to fit well with our natural intuition about what is ethical or not. However, to distinguish another related issue of Cronyism Act of Malaysia government, consequentialism were much more eligible in this situation. This is because consequentialism perspective acknowledge weighing the costs and benefits of a situation. Malaysia government action of approving the property gift request have result much more negative impact towards our country economic growth and political issue. Therefore, it is an unethical practice that was done by Malaysia government, considering consequentialism perspective. Besides, this situation can be evaluated via utilitarianism perspective, where this theory asserts right and wrong are best determined by focusing on outcome of an action. Utilitarianism also demolishes that most ethical choice is the one that will produce the greatest good for greatest number of human beings. In accordance with Malaysia Government Act of Cronyism, utilitarianism are suitable to demonstrate moral reasoning which it will take into consideration on the cost and benefit of the other. In fact, the Malaysia government should lead a discussion upon Datuk Sri Najib's request, but they failed to do so. Their action will contributing the future financial of our economic growth. Thus, this situation is reliable to utilitarianism perspective, and their action were absolutely unethical and amorally carried. Justice and fairness are two closely related terms that are often used to demolish when people differ over what they believe should be given or when the decision making have to perform concerning how benefit and burdens should be addressed among a group of individuals. Question of justice or fairness inevitable arise. Rawls' theory of justice as fairness can be applied concerning the issue. The fact that Rawls' perspective admit and took consideration of all components such as political, economic, equality, minimum standard of living needs, ability, freedom seem much more eligible. In conclusion, every single institution, entity, or even an individual or a country should establish code of ethics in performing their action of everyday life duties and work. In accordance above, discussion about corruption and cronyism are two symbols of weaknesses and unfair judgment that should be demolished in Malaysia political culture. It also evaluates governance dynamic and institutional quality. Therefore, every member of Malaysia's cabinet, politician, and even normal citizen and the country itself should look and address this component seriously. Datuk Sri Najib's highest profile corruption does not only degrading the image of Malaysia's reputation but also will construct negative impact to the country diplomacy relation. It also has indirect effect towards Malaysia economic performance by affecting numerous factors of economic growth. Besides, cronyism can be viewed as pillar or parasitic system which are sort of a little corruption. Thus, Malaysia government should be more aware in making any decision or action that related with biased judgment. That's all from me. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Nur Nabila Najah binti Husni, my matric number 273505. In this video, I will explain about ethical lesson. Basically, fairness is related to ethics and play a crucial role in every aspect of life including economy, political and social. Regarding this, fairness in cronyism is crucial to avoid unintended and unjust advantage to people in organization. Cronyism causes a bad impact toward people that are surrounded with cronyism culture. From the unethical issue regarding the case about the former Prime Minister Datuk Seri Najib Razak, there are numerous ethical lessons that we can get and learn to enhance fairness and alleviate unjust in society, organization as well as political. Firstly, integrity plays a crucial role especially in handling cronyism. Integrity helps in enhancing the betterment of work and organization environment as well as promoting a fair and just approach of decision making. With integrity, unethical behavior and illegal act can be alleviated and establish positive environment. From this case, as a leader, integrity is important to build and enhance people's confidence toward his ability and keep good reputation. So, all leaders, especially at the country level, must perform high integrity in order to run administration smoothly. Secondly, the ethical lesson from this case is leader must be inculcated with a good attitude like trustworthiness, honesty, loyalty and ethical behavior. It is crucial because this attitude will determine a leader's personality in performing and carrying out their responsibilities. For instance, many Malaysian leaders has been accused of malpractice in the court. So, without these good attitudes, many unethical and illegal act will arise and lead to the bad impact such as the collapse of organization, of institutions and enlargement of unethical worker. In a nutshell, the ethical culture and leadership must be enhanced and developed in order to keep the organization reputation. In the country level, reputation is crucial to enhance other country confidence towards our country. Ethical culture and leadership can be developed by encouraging employees to report any unethical and illegal act and implementing and promoting a proactive voice system of employee. So, cronyism must be prevented because it's not only affect those who are involved but all people in the organization. That's all from my part. Thank you.